But then there's the American one. No, fuck.
Yes! Flag hanging off the back.
Yeah.
We like to win.
Welcome AGF viewers, I am Brandon Quick, co-owner of the American Grappling Federation, and I am here with Josh Mancuso. Third time's a charm. I tried to get here twice. One time I had a rain check because I had to go to another event. Another time, mechanical problems with the airplane, got delayed. So here we are, we're back. We're finally in Baton Rouge, or I'm finally in Baton Rouge. If I can introduce you in my own little way of how I know you.
Yeah.
Right? So, a way that everyone can know him, he's a black belt that teaches at Checkmat in Baton Rouge and has his gym, JM Modern Jiu-Jitsu. But the way that Brandon Quick would describe you would be, I saw you originally putting out content, knew you, even if I didn't know your name, I knew you were the guy that was on the UFC mats.
Yes.
Right? And I know that a lot of people know that about you as well too, and you put out a lot of good content. I consider myself an educated grappler, and game recognizes game. When I would watch those videos, they weren't clickbait jiu-jitsu. They weren't, they were thought out. They were systematic. They were 5-6 minute, whatever, type videos that explained the game. So I appreciated that. And so that's where I started seeing you. And then I'd seen you compete a few times and these kinds of things. And then as we made our way into Louisiana with the American Grappling Federation and throughout the Southeast, we started to see you more. And so his guys are all kick butt, and not just his guys, but his women. I would consider Josh a guy who creates great women, female champions in all competition aspects. And I wouldn't consider you a big MMA guy from my point of view, though.
No.
Maybe we'll go down that route. I'm sure you probably threw a fist once in a while in training, right?
I've fought MMA before, but it was never like, it was more like, is my jiu-jitsu real? Because being a martial artist is the most important thing to me in all of this. Yeah. So if you can't deal with that, then,
So then got to know him over the years, and then we, man, I think you even did a super fight at AGF before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I tell people about it all the time. 20 minutes long. It was so long. It was so long, and it was a draw because it's submission only. I did great positionally, and if it would have been a point match, I'd done wonderfully, but it wasn't. So it went to a draw, but I'll remember that match for the rest of my life.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Other things to note and things to just think about and highlight and also introduce you for is going from the corporate world to all into jiu-jitsu, seasoned black belt before you opened. Correct me if I'm wrong, you were accepting Bitcoin before as payment.
Still do
at the gym. So progressive gym mentality. Can't wait to go there. We haven't been to the gym yet. So we have a few different subjects that I wanted to talk about in terms of business, and then obviously we have the VR racing is a side thing too. But I think for the people though, it's always good to just start out with like, hey, how did you start with martial arts? How did you get involved, and kind of tell us your story, and then we can kind of go, I don't open up some Pandora's box. For
sure. All right. So I'm gonna bring it way back because I've told this story before, but the older I get, the more I realize how far down in my roots it goes, right? So my mother is probably like the biggest influence on me as a person. Like people who know me, they say I have a unique personality because I'm very like direct and very upfront. And you'll know what I think, right? And she was like that, but she was a martial artist, and she got her confidence through martial arts. That was always how she defined herself, even though like, I think she actually quit training martial arts when she was like in her early 20s. So I was a little baby, through most of that, but that was always a characteristic that she talked about and did. While maybe not a perfect person, those traits were definitely huge to her. And then she passed in 2001, and I always remember like her memory and things like that. And it's always been an influence on me. And as I've grown, it's funny to see, like, I think that her memory is what eventually really brought me to martial arts. Now, what exactly got me exposed to it was, I had been riding motorcycles and I crashed. I was into stunt riding. I just liked adrenaline sports. I've always liked adrenaline sports. So
cans and knickknacks.
I was into the wheelies and street bikes and had, all that stuff. And so I ended up crashing, and my family kind of had an intervention because they're like, "Do you want your daughter to remember you?" And I'm like, "Okay, all right, that's fair enough. I'll stop." And so I stopped, and I got really bored. And luckily, thank goodness, the UFC did the reality show, and The Ultimate Fighter. Just when I saw it, I was like, I've heard of this UFC stuff before. Okay, I've heard of this. This is pretty cool. Why have I not watched this? And as I started to watch, and they talked about jiu-jitsu, I was like, the act of actually hurting someone actually doesn't excite me. I have to really not like you to want to hurt you. I mean, really not like you, because I don't have that in me. But I really enjoyed the act of dominating somebody through jiu-jitsu. When they started talking about it, it was just so cool. And then I started looking into the history of it, and I'm like, I look at the Gracies and like how it came here, and it's just so exciting, this whole culture.
Yeah.
And so that just got me really excited into it. And luckily, I was able to train 3 times a day, and that's how I got started.
I mean, Ultimate Fighter 1 had Tim Crater on it, though.
Yeah, no, 7.
Oh, that was 7?
Rich was on 4. So it was cool. The first time,
for some reason, I thought Crater was on 1.
No, so Rich got him on 7. So when I first started jiu-jitsu, I went to Gladiators Academy of Baton Rouge, and it was run by a guy named Tony Gyro, and he was kind of like the Dana White of the area. He kind of like knew there was a lot of talent in Louisiana, but it was very disorganized, and nobody was going to put it together because Rich Clementi's out in Slidell, who's amazing. The guy's a legend. Tim Crater's out in Lafayette. The level of jiu-jitsu he had at that time was just light years beyond what everybody else had. And so then you had all these other great MMA fighters, but he brought them all together in Baton Rouge, either by paying them or helping them or giving them a place to train that was going to really benefit them. And so when I walked in my first day, I was just so fortunate to walk in and not even know who these people were. To learn who they were as I was there was like the shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was so cool. And like, it was an MMA gym, and that's how we came up: scuzzy, dirty, nasty. And then like, that also taught me like, okay, we need to have a clean gym now because like nobody ever stayed around. But it was like, that was the environment. I was lucky to get exposed to those guys and, keep doing jiu-jitsu from there.
What's what year you start training?
2006. So around like mid 2006.
Cool. Awesome. And so you're in what profession at this time?
I'm just whatever, man. I'll just go by the day. I'm teaching jiu-jitsu now because I actually took a break from teaching, and I was doing other things and being productive. But to be honest, I like teaching jiu-jitsu. It's fun. So
I saw you talk about the corporate world before.
But
I didn't really know. That's why I was kind of trying to lead into.
Sure.
But I also I don't know what you did in the corporate world, or what type of business. But so I didn't know if you were like, when you first walked in that gym, you weren't quite in the corporate world yet.
No. So when I first walked in there, I was still working. Actually, I was a mechanic. And I was a mechanic and making a good, decent living, you know what I mean? Lived in a trailer and had a little kid and just went to jiu-jitsu every night. And then I'm glad you brought this up because it's a good point. I think that what I always lacked was like the confidence that I could be something special or more than what I was. And jiu-jitsu, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it really did start to like raise my confidence, And so I would be bolder in different situations and the moves that I made. And through that, some opportunities arose, and I was offered my first job as an inside salesperson. And it went really, really well for me. I was able to hustle on the phone constantly. It was very, very hectic. But at the same time, I had a little iPod video that I would keep right in front of me and watch competition footage. And I would do this all day long while I'm on the phone. I would just like literally hang up, like old school stockbroker. That's what I looked like. Constantly.
I feel it. I got I went towards commodities, and I refinanced houses in the California refi boom. Yeah,
never stopped. And so and I would watch jiu-jitsu videos in the middle, and then that eroded, just kept growing into other opportunities. End up working for an outside sales situation, which was fucking awesome because then I could just be out in the world and nobody had tabs on me. So I would just hustle really hard and build my book of business so that my numbers are good and I can train jiu-jitsu. So that's when I started training 5 days a week. And then that steamrolled into like, I'm running a program at the UFC gym and it's doing well and everything, but I just knew that it could be more. And the owner was actually a great guy. I still, wish the guy nothing but success. And, but like, there were certain things like if I wanted to upgrade something, I need to go to him and then he need to go to his boss, like his investors, and they need to discuss something. Sure. And I understand that that's their business budget. But for me, I like to move really fast. And so it was just, I decided to open up my own place and it's just gone great. And then I actually got fired because they found out that I had a gym and that I was teaching so often. And, which when it happened, I was like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. But I just dove straight into the gym, and I've never looked back, and it's been great ever since.
Awesome. I'm excited to go to the gym tonight. Not only are your people awesome, but I have seen it online. Looks really good. Looks full.
Yeah, it's definitely been full.
Definitely look like a 60-person class kind of. You even exposed your numbers before. You put your class attendance online, and I love that. People can view that as arrogance. People can view that as not motivation, but inspiration.
Sure.
For me, it's inspiration. Because there's a lot of broke ass instructors out there that love jiu-jitsu and they have zero clue on how to be people on their mats or retain people on their mats.
Yep.
So
I help a lot of people too. I get people reaching out to me all the time. I got
I'm sure
from different schools, and them, I know them, and I even have a business group that I was posting heavily for a while there, just trying to help people out, and it goes well. But at the same time, it does get me a lot of hate because look, I'm gonna get on there when I'm on my Instagram live or whatever. If we got a packed house, I'm gonna say we are the shit. Yeah. This place is the shit. If you ain't here, I don't know what you're doing, and I don't give a shit because you're not here. We're doing it. It's a party. Yeah, we're having fun. And I think about it like that. I try to make the music match the night and stuff like that. And I have a good time. And I want people to know that I'm excited about them being here. And I'm super proud of where I'm training. And I'm not scared to say it. And I've had people tell me that they hate that. They absolutely hate it. And I just don't care. I'll never care. And I'm saying, if you build something that you're so proud of.
That dude is straight lit about training right now. Why do you even care?
Exactly. Oh my God. It's like if you build something that you're so proud of, that so many people love and have helped so many people in so many ways, then how can you not be proud of that?
I mean, I struggle with that with AGF. I feel you, bro. How do I separate being proud, but yet telling you how this company is different than others, but also saying, but you can only be humble so much as well. And at a certain point, you have to put yourself out there.
I don't really believe in that word very much. I don't really think humble. I don't really think that it's a good word. I think that it's an oversold word. I think it lines itself with self-deprecating humor and the culture that we're in. I think people are told to be humble, told to be this, told to be that. And my daughter, we tell her, humble is for losers. You're the best at everything.
For sure. I hope all my European homies are probably laughing right now because this is a big debate I have with not debate, but conversation I have with my European friends. If you describe athletes on a podium, they're like, all right, here's the Belgian guy and he's totally quiet, even though he won.
Yeah.
Right? And then here's the German and he might be like, oh, cool, whatever. But then there's the American with
flag hanging off the back.
Yeah.
We like to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hustler nation from the get-go. So
yeah. Around the world, everybody as a kid is told that sit down, be quiet. I'm actually stealing this from Kanye West, so I'm gonna just be honest with you. He said something that made sense, and I know that sounds crazy that guy said something that made sense, but he mentioned when you're a kid, you may have seen this before. He said you're told don't get on the coffee table, right? It's like, okay, I won't get on the coffee table, but the kid wants to get on the coffee table. It's like, well, then there's somebody else says, well, don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, and now you have a world of coffee tables in front of you. Right. And so what I'm trying to do, I'm experimenting with my own daughter is we're just not having that. You can get on the coffee table. If it doesn't affect something, we're going to push you to do it. And we're going to push you to believe in yourself so hard that you're just going to be unstoppable. Because just the more I see my successful students versus my non-successful students, it's not talent. It's not technical ability. It's confidence.
Yeah.
And, and it's like, if I can learn to make people believe in themselves, even the ones that don't. And let me tell you what, every year that goes by, it gets harder because the people get weaker and weaker and weaker. And I see it.
Mentally and physically.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Some of these people are just you can literally blow and they'll fall down. And they come to us like that. And we do our best to build them back up. You know what I mean? I come off as highly testosterone guy, but I mean, that's what I'm here to inject. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. We're not making quilts.
No, you came to me because I know how to fight.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And I say fight more than I say win tournaments. You know what I mean? We are a martial arts school.
I know people trip out on me all the time because all I do is when I got into it, for me, it's still about fighting.
Yes, it has to be.
I think as obviously self-analyzation, when I look into it, it's I started, like most people though, came in only for self-defense. But I also started in the 90s where it was primarily self-defense, right?
Yeah, it was all
there was
fights.
No spider guard to triangle. It was block the overhook punch,
It was
grab a
one
wrist.
versus one in front of people fighting.
Yeah, and so that was like the mentality, and then from there I went to the military, and then after that I was still training MMA and jiu-jitsu and all that. So it was always had the fight in my mind, you know. And then as a promoter, I watched the tournament scene turn it more sport jiu-jitsu and more. And I tell people, I was like, bro, when I was younger, we went to jiu-jitsu to learn how to fight.
Yes.
And now if you want to learn how to fight, you got to go to MMA class or you got to go to Muay Thai, and jiu-jitsu is now split between gi, no gi. And then if you want to learn the fight-based stuff, you have to go to this class.
But see, there can be a balance found there.
100%.
But I think the balance
100%.
comes from kind of the rules that you guys are interjecting. And I think those make the coaches change a little bit too, because the reality is I've become completely disillusioned with certain tournament organizations because what made jiu-jitsu the thing that drove me in? I saw it in an MMA setting, dominating a style versus style competition. And so I'm like, this is great. Okay, this is what I want to learn. But the reality of it is, if you look at the tournaments now, it's gotten, let me get back. You look at jiu-jitsu actually winning fights versus these other styles. So you look at the other styles, you're like, well, I don't want to do that. That's trash. You know what I mean? And so you look at karate and they're like, oh, they don't punch to the head. That doesn't look real. Olympic Taekwondo looks very odd, I would say. You know? So we're sitting back here laughing at these other martial arts going like, they're not real. But then if you turn on the IBJJF to anybody that doesn't do IBJJF jiu-jitsu, they're going to look at that and say, well, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is a fight. The guys fall to their backs and they don't even come to the top when they have the opportunity. I don't understand what happened there. And so for me, that's when I become disillusioned with things. And I'm like, we've lost our way. I was programmed to think like, by some moral victory, that if I just stay on the bottom and don't get my guard passed, then like I didn't really lose. I might have lost, but I didn't really lose because it didn't pass my guard. It's like, no, if you're on the bottom conceding position and now you're getting some type of moral victory because you didn't get completely smashed, that's ridiculous mindset. And we got to change that. And I think that's why I'm so excited about those new rules, and it allows me to build better grapplers. I'm already seeing guys. If you watch this weekend, they had the Fight Pass Invitational happen, and they had J-Rod versus Jontas Alves. And if you didn't see the match, basically, J-Rod doesn't possess an ounce of the technique that Jontas Alves does. You cannot say, I don't believe anybody would argue that, even those two. But J-Rod beat the crap out of him and submitted him. And so why did that happen? It's because a slight rule change incentivized the takedown, and then that he was able to never play on his back. Most jiu-jitsu guys, if you start to sweep them and they're 75% to a sweep, they're going to accept that sweep and start playing guard. And that's the difference with some of these new cats and what our kids are doing. They're not accepting that last bit. Yeah. They're fighting to the top to the very end, and they're going to try and take the other person down. And I'm glad that we're getting back to that because it brings the martial arts back to our martial art. Yeah. And we still need the guard. We still need the close guard. Well, there's going to be times where you get taken down. There's going to be times where you can't take down somebody. I'm not saying I wouldn't pull guard with a -1, but the reality is I need to accept the fact that I am conceding. Yes. But I never thought about it that way until I actually pulled myself away from those lenses. It's happening a lot. You're not the only one. I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to it. Yeah. And, my coach is a no-gi only guy, Chris Brennan. He's also a 3-time no-gi world champion, Hall of Famer and stuff, but legend. For sure. Yeah. And so you have a lot of people that have thought like this, like him for a long time. Guys like Eddie Bravo thought like that for a long time, but not just them. I mean, you have a ton of other people, like my partner Chris is his coach Magnus, who wins a ton as a team. He's gone no-gi, and I'm just mentioning people, but in reality, there's just tons of them. I trip out in Tampa where I live. It's a real heavy Gracie jiu-jitsu. You would think green mats and typical self-defense. Dude, they're no-gi only gyms. The Robbie D'Onofrio and Ian. Matt Arroyo, he's around that area, right? He's up in the northern side. I'm towards the beach. Okay. But yes, that's Matt Arroyo, Rob Kahn. I've seen his content. I've seen the gym. So I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, those Rob guys are super. But there's a ton of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And on the south side of the bay, Gracie Brandon, Gracie Bradenton, Gracie Apollo Beach, like all these in it. But there's several. Josh Zapatero is actually, or Josh Leduc, who owns Zapatero Jiu-Jitsu. Super fights. Gordon Ryan back in the day, I think, is a Brown fought Wagner Rocha on that. Okay. And still does super fight stuff. And he's actually the closest gym to me. He's like 7 minutes away from my house. No-gi only.
several gyms that I would think that would not be no-gi are. Yeah, it's trippy. And then because I travel overseas a lot, some people obviously know that watching this YouTube channel, and half the stuff's overseas, but when I go over to Europe, so I have more knowledge than the average person, especially the American. I have more knowledge in terms of what's going on in the world.
Sure.
More knowledge than the Brazilian that has come to America.
Right, because you're getting exposed to different cultures.
Yeah, for sure. I step in more. I tell people, without any arrogance, I feel I've taught more seminars than anyone that I personally know worldwide than someone who's not a world champion.
Sure.
Than like Cyborg or Kyle Terra or something.
I would agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I've seen our schedule
all over the world since 2007 was my first international seminar, from the Caribbean to Latin America to Asia to freaking Europe like crazy. Still go back to Europe like crazy. AGF Europe is run by my black belts, right? You know what I mean? So like, and in Europe, and what I'm getting at is in Europe, they're on the same track as us. I was just talking to a couple guy earlier. We're about 2 years, 3 years behind the Americans, but they prefer no-gi too.
Sure.
There's going to be places, I know it sounds funny, that train more gi because of the weather.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that.
And then, but I've noticed over the years too, traveling, that the further that you get away from like the uber guard players, like you can, I don't want to say can't, but it's hard. Let's use this as an example. Spider guard. Like to be super high level spider guard, you need a coach that is going to make this grip, that's going to develop that game, teach you that game, and has to correct you constantly in that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a game where you figure out on your own. You have to kind of be taught that. But the grippy games, the clinch games, the half guards and the butterflies, eventually a person can get the habit of what we're doing here just by rocking and getting good at that rock in the boat and understanding that. And so I feel that a lot of those clinch-based games, the Europeans are really good at, and I mean, look at Adam Bordinsky.
Yeah.
He's like master butterfly clincher, And
he was just in my gym.
Yes. Yeah. You were saying that too, or I saw that too. And, I'm obviously over in Poland with AGF. Come on, guy. Please compete at AGF one time for us.
Yeah.
I'd tell him I'll fly you and your wife and kid anywhere. But I'm a fan of his jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah, he's
I
great,
like butterfly
man.
guard.
Very similar games.
Starting jiu-jitsu underneath John-Jacques Machado lineage, originally in California. That lineage and those people, everyone, had played butterfly. You know what I mean?
Clearly,
and so I've always been a butterfly fan. So to watch it. And he doesn't have some. It's not a wonky, crazy game. It's very, very up technical.
The biggest weird thing he does is so many of those John Wayne sweeps. I've just never been.
That's my favorite game.
Dude, I'm terrible at them. I'm terrible
taller.
At them.
Yeah,
he kills it with those.
The more that I teach it, the more that I realize it fits a longer leg guy better. I don't know what to tell you, short leg guys.
Do more butterfly.
Yeah. But anyhow, so the Europeans, I feel, are on par with us with the mentality of it. They don't have the wrestling in our culture like us. They have a heavy judo culture, and they have wrestling from a local Russian. So like every gym in Belgium, Germany, Netherlands that I Portugal that I go to, they all got a Chechnyan, or they got a.
Then it's a matter of time,
guys. It's not so much though, because they learn it as an adult, as an additive. So they don't have it as a youth culture like we do, though.
But how did jiu-jitsu start in America? How did it get big? The Brazilian guys coming over and start teaching.
For sure.
Well, how did it get reimagined? For sure.
The problem with Europe, though, is I know you have been there, but their infrastructure of their schools, and like many of the schools that I visit will be at sport halls. So they won't be a personally owned business like you and I own a brick and mortar.
Like a club that meets at a place.
Yeah, like there's indoor volleyball, soccer, track, all this kind. Then there's a judo and a jiu-jitsu mats, and there's a bar in the center. And there's it's super dope. And almost every single city in Europe has these a sport hall, right? Like not just the minor cities, but like not just.
I competed in Amsterdam once, and I think I know what you're talking about, because I think the tournament might have been held somewhere similar to that, because there's all type of different sports in one place.
But the clubs are like this too, so there's like all over there like that. And so I give more credit than Americans, because a lot of us will do it, but yes, because we love the game, but a lot of us do it for profit. Sure. Right. And so these guys all work a 9 to 5, and then they teach after practically for free.
Right.
Because it could be like 60 euros a month, or it's really not that much. But the way that they treat their kids' athletics is what separates the Europeans from Americans, in terms of they think it should be completely dirt cheap. They don't push it as hard as Americans. I can see it plain as day. And I've been to Brazil is another thing. I've trained jiu-jitsu in Brazil. I have Brazilian friends. I have seen the infrastructure there, seen how they treat their kids. They don't do it the same way as us, the Brazilians, in terms of the format of the schools and stuff, but they super love on their kids. Their Latin culture.
Sure.
They love their kids. So that, social projects are way bigger than what we do. It's non-existent in America almost, And so they do it and they have different hours and they have a different learning process, but they can still get to a really high level of jiu-jitsu, obviously. Right. And so there's different ways to skin a cat. But I see a huge problem with the Europeans because their kids are if I have 150 students or competitors, Josh, I got 15 kids, 150 adults. I would have 15 kids.
Wow, yeah, it's definitely the opposite.
400 adults, I'd have 50 kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's equal or 60-40 in America at AGF tournaments. You know what I'm saying? For kids to adults.
Sure.
And so I see a big problem there. And because that makes everybody late to the game.
Yeah.
And the best for me in terms of my own black belts and what I see with other people like Roberto Jimenez, these kind of guys, is they started when they were kids and then they go into the adult ranks and they get those teen years where they can do multiple divisions of kids and adults and they really grow then.
Yes.
They don't get that as much because the kids programs are, for example, 2 out of 3 of my affiliates in Belgium don't even have a kids program.
Wow.
Because they're a 9 to 5 guy.
Yeah.
And then they teach jiu-jitsu at a sport hall after, and they just don't have time to teach kids.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I'm not doing another hour dealing with people's kids. And so I'm not going, I'm too tired.
Yeah,
I worked 9 hours already, and then I'm going to go teach jiu-jitsu and come home at 10 o'clock at night. So they're not interested.
But yes, especially if it's not monetized, it's hard to be consistent with that, man.
Yeah.
You need motivation. Yeah. I mean, we all love jiu-jitsu, but going and teach your second class of the day sometimes can be like,
you analyze the Russian culture, you analyze the Brazilian culture, they train their kids a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and it's just different, but not knocking the Europeans in terms of that. I just think that that's part of their struggle in terms of them catching up to us will they have some superstars? Yes. But I think that's part of their overall collect. This isn't a Czechia problem. This isn't a England problem. This isn't England probably
It'll
does
probably
better.
Be like these jiu-jitsu guys that start having kids and they just start teaching their own kids.
Yeah.
But then they need people to compete against. So you need more, but it'll start there.
Yeah. Yeah. In places like Poland have good kids ones, I go there that they'll have 50 kid teams and stuff like that, hard to find them. There's like a few teams throughout like all of Europe like that.
Right.
But you're not going to go into like Berlin and have 400 kids.
Right.
Competing. So
that's the culture there.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I'm like, oh dang, we can do that there in any city in America.
Yeah. Clearly.
And so let's talk about this. You got into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then you started taking payment at the school, still do?
Yeah, man. Look, the reality is this. So like when I get into something, I'm very like, hey everybody, this is awesome. You should get in on this too. You know what I mean? And so like whenever I realized that Bitcoin was actually something special, I tried to incentivize other people to learn it and use it. And so I'm like, I always just believe that like be the change you want to see. Sort of like how I'm making a pivot in my jiu-jitsu school. I made a decision there. I'm like, well, if I want people to start using this, then I should start accepting it. And so I started accepting it. And man, it's a great idea because like I've been getting, like, I don't get a lot of people that pay me in Bitcoin. I have a couple, but all their payments, like essentially right now, I mean, it's almost like they've been quadrupled because of what Bitcoin happens to be worth right now. So,
yeah.
So it's worked out great for me and for those people too. I give them a discount on their membership. So,
and you're just cooler than the other people.
Yeah.
I love it.
What's funny is me and Raphael Elwanger are Bitcoin buddies, Bitcoin and tractor buddies now, because he's super into Bitcoin and super into tractors. So we'll be like
farm tractors.
Yeah. Oh, he's a super farmer. He's got like livestock and all kind of stuff. And we were at odds for years, because of my brashness and because he's brash too. And so, but ultimately over the years we've gained a great deal of respect for each other. And now we're just friends, I would consider. Now our students may not know that, or his students may not know that. But my students know.
Now they do.
Yeah.
No,
they won't believe me. They won't believe me.
right.
They won't believe me. I told them.
That's funny. So you guys are Bitcoin partners.
Yeah.
Or buddies.
Yeah. We talk about it and stuff like that. And mainly just like give each other thumbs up if things are going well, that sort of thing.
Well, I agree with what you're saying about, you know, putting it out there and, hey, I like this, and if it's cool and putting it out there.
I did it with stocks during COVID. I've done it with jiu-jitsu. I've done it with whatever I thought would benefit people. Like, I don't have any ulterior motive. It's just like, hey, I think this is great and it served me well. I'd like other people to be interested in it. Maybe you should look into it.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And I think that it's a great thing. And I could go on a whole hour-long spiel about how much Bitcoin, why it's so great and what's so great about it. But ultimately, man, I just like having independence to myself. That's what it gives me. And so that's what I like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with AGF having a business in Brazil, I have currency in bricks instead of just America. I'm scared for this next 12 months, bro.
It's interesting, man. Believe me.
What's going on? You know, like, that's another reason for, you know, we can get into the whole digital currency.
I look at Bitcoin as insurance. That's the way I look at it. It's insurance against the dollar. So if the dollar goes down, hopefully the Bitcoin will be the opposite. If the Bitcoin goes down, hopefully it's because the dollar's going up. So either way, if one's going down, you're going up. Because if you're trying to get rich off of something, you know, maybe it'll happen. But if you're trying to hedge your bets, then look at it like that, then it's like, well, at least I can survive in this crazy, tumultuous world of financial chaos that we're in. Because that's exactly what it is.
Most people struggle with it is the idea in their head is that I invest in that and then I don't see that money because it's not like coming back to me, you know, or it's not like something I use all the time.
Yeah.
So it's hard for some people to get invested in it.
Well, it's hard for people to even invest these days. It's like everything's expensive, everything's tough. I mean, like, it's just, we're not where we were 5 years ago or whatever. And like, you know, money's tight. I don't think, if people can't invest, I think some people got burned with crypto stuff during COVID that like now they're just timid to even do it. But who the hell knows what's going to happen? I definitely think it's the future.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I mean, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but I'm definitely along for the ride.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one holding the bag
Chris
without
and I were getting into like the notes to be able to be when they were doing the made up land that we had in the digital world.
Like the metaverse
or right. So, and they had different access points. Long story for the people, they had different access points into that world, right?
Yeah.
And so like those owners of those access points are the people that control the access to it.
Right.
So you know they're gonna charge you for that. You know, so that was that
could still end up happening.
It was wild when I saw dudes getting like for a painting that wasn't there, but it was in the metaverse. Yeah.
But like that goes to show you that there is a market in the virtual world. I'm super conspiracy theorist. Obviously, most black belts are these days. But like, I feel like the Neuralink's going to be the big thing. Now, don't plan on getting that, but I just think that is going to be where people can truly go into that virtual world in a way that like was never seen before.
Oh,
and it's scary.
Yeah, it can be scary.
But like if you're buying stuff in that world, that's probably just as tangible as this. You know what I mean? So who the hell knows how that's going to be?
Yeah, I don't want to mess with dreams and nightmares in my head.
Yeah, man.
You know,
or making anything make me feel a certain way. Like that's scary. That's 1984 for me. And I'm a big Elon Musk fan.
Have you tried the Google? Glasses?
No, I haven't tried the glasses. I got the Quest Oculus in there, the one that you can like see.
I was talking about the regular ones you buy like at Best Buy.
No, I haven't tried.
You know, there's some trippy ones out there. Yeah, you got to try that. And I'm not talking about VR games.
They're like this is actually like glasses.
Yeah, the Google glasses.
I haven't seen them yet.
It's a trip. You definitely go check it out. Now, you know, you and I talk sometimes, then you'll come back a week later.
Yeah,
have some knowledge on it. But there's different versions of glasses you can put on that, you know, are able to give you information.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's where it's headed.
I'm too scared to do that, is what I was saying, though.
I was thinking,
doing a Neuralink.
What's really going to happen is when they do car windshields. And then you're not, when that's normal, you're not going to have street signs. You're not going to have stoplights. You're not going to have advertisements. They can all be updated through this augmented reality that isn't even there.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's super
but it's
scary.
going to happen, you know?
Yeah, we still need kids playing in the mud.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I have to actually put an effort to make that happen these days.
Yeah. So you got into a side hobby of VR racing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it kind of explained that. Did you start with regular racing? VR?
Yes.
What happened?
So I've always been a car guy. I am a sports car guy. I love fast cars. I've always loved fast cars. A lot of dudes do, right? So I've always been into that. And my first real career was as a mechanic. So That came from a passion of cars, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I got out of that, got into jiu-jitsu, and so I kind of left it alone. And then another reality series, Netflix came out with the Drive to Survive thing, sort of like The Ultimate Fighter, and it piqued my interest because it kind of gave me a window into that world. And I was like, oh, this is really exciting. And I think it was during COVID, actually. So everything was at a very, very boring time. So you're looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And so I ended up saying like, oh, well, I got a video game. The next thing you know, I'm like, oh, well, you can get a little toy wheel. And then like next thing you know, like one thing snowballed into another. And then I'm finding this whole world of people that have been doing this forever in these simulated racing setups. And the deeper I got, the more immersive it became. And just now, like, I mean, I have a great setup and I can, for me, I was telling you earlier, I like adrenaline sports, and that's why I love jiu-jitsu. It puts me in the moment. I love anything that's like that. But if I'm sitting around like just bullshitting or looking at my phone, I cannot stop thinking about the gym, what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
So-and-so's guard sucks. They need to do this. Like, blah, blah, blah. What's Charlie doing? Or, like, do I need to go work on my property over here? I got all these different things that need to be going on. What are the stocks doing? How's Bitcoin?
Yeah.
You know, is the world imploding? All those things.
It's flat.
Exactly. No comment. So so then, like, if I do this, then I can completely get in the moment again, just like I do on jiu-jitsu. It's just not quite as physically taxing.
Yeah.
You know, except it's super fucking hard, man. Super fucking hard.
Can we go take a look?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is the simulator room.
Dang.
Yeah, I got to keep my air conditioner here to keep it from fucking getting super hot.
This is another wheel.
Yeah, this is the wheel for a certain type of car, and that's a wheel for a different type of car.
You guys can see this up close? I mean, we got.
Oh, yeah.
This is too many colors for me too.
So this is just like your basic keyboard stuff. This is controls for the car. This is displays.
This looks like a frame.
It is. This is a solid aluminum. Like this, you can't lift this up. It's super heavy.
Wow. So did you have this custom made?
Kinda, yeah. So you have it cut into pieces, then you can put it together yourself.
And then where'd you get this off of?
Online,
buddies that do this, or people?
Yeah, just like you see what other people do, and then you can kind of make it your own. Like no two rigs are exactly the same. If you look back here, the PC's back here, and this is like, you know, top of the line graphics card. It's very powerful computer, and then it has motion and all that good stuff. But we have like, if I'm doing NASCAR racing or doing NASCAR or rally racing, I'll use this wheel. If I'm doing GT3 or Formula One, I'll use this wheel.
Let's see it. Can we see it?
Yeah, let's do it. So,
do you have any traditional hat or something, gloves you put on?
Well, I do when I'm actually
doing races. I said you did a long race the other day. I saw you online.
So this wheel is it's got suede hand grips, so it can wear out. So you typically wear gloves when you use that one, or it'll get wore out with the oil from your hand.
Yeah, just being nervous. I figured you might sweat a lot.
Oh yeah, I put a heart monitor on it, and sometimes I'll come out of this thing sweating. Because plus the computer produces a lot of heat. That's why I have an air conditioner in here just to keep me fucking cool.
Yeah.
But so
the car I chose, the Alpine.
Let's see. They'll have some faster cars on the track, but they're not racing us. There we go. Confirm. I've actually never driven this car.
And so this is all PC based. Okay.
Yeah. If you don't like. They have versions of this like Gran Turismo and stuff like that, and they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're fun. They're just like not quite as like immersive as this.
Seatbelt and all, that's what I'm talking about. Sparkles in the back.
Gotta do a
We are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Well, I tell you, every time I go to Louisiana, something's got some sparkle in it.
Actually, you know what? Damn it. I'm gonna change this car because I actually never driven it. I don't have it set up for me yet.
No worries, go drive your thing.
I was like, oh wait, it's not set.
So you set the specs to how you like to drive.
It's like every car I kind of have to set up each one like to where I sit and everything else.
What do you like to drive?
And honestly, a lot of them are great. I just haven't set up all of them because there's so many of them, right? So I'll just do the Ferrari for now.
So this isn't like once where you have to earn cash to create a car. You can just make a car?
So on this game particularly, you can you just like, they have a set of cars that you can get and you can drive those ones. This is not the simulator I normally use. The one I normally use is actually down today, which is never happens, but it is today.
Also, you're shifting down there, solid.
One thing, change here, get it right. Sorry, I haven't been messing. I thought I had it all set. I had it set for my normal simulator, and then I'm having friends over. Okay, here we go. So they have like a little rolling start, and then we'll get going.
I like the side cameras. Oh, so your seat's moving, man.
Oh yeah.
Jay.
It vibrates like crazy.
How does I've never seen the seat move to the.
It's so advanced, man. Like the way this stuff all talks to each other is just, it's insane. I had no idea it would be this.
Are any of these people that are actual people?
Not right now, just because it would take like time to. You can do that. That's what I normally do, but just like it takes a lot of time to get in a race, all that.
So it's kind of like Fortnite. You meet up, race other people.
Exactly. Crash.
It looks like a damn cockpit, to be honest.
That's the whole plan. The whole idea is immersion is like the goal.
So all these numbers up here, you're tracking, you know what all these are?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Some of them are not needed. You don't have to worry about them all the time.
What do you think you've invested on this setup, Josh?
Oh God. I try not to think about it.
Well,
I mean, I don't know, a
10
lot.
grand?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was too passive and oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are we at 20 grand?
I don't know. I try not to think about it.
I'll take that as a maybe.
The idea is that if I would have known what and bought all the good shit at the beginning, probably would have saved myself a lot of money.
The learning curve.
But you're like, oh, I'll get the little stuff. That's all I
Expensive,
need.
right?
The next thing you know, you're buying. Wait, Leo Noguera is another person who sim races. We actually talk a lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he actually does real racing too. All right, you got to give it a shot now. I'll show you a lap around.
The fact that the car move or the seat moves.
Yeah, that was
no
a big
idea.
game changer.
Oh, for
when
sure.
I did that.
The authenticity of it has got to make it feel so much
And that's why I
better.
buckle in, because it like.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is that you feel G-forces throwing you forward, and like, so the brake pedal in a race car, the G-forces throw you forward, so that's what pushes the brakes, so that kind of simulates
Right.
the idea that Joe Rogan just got a simulator.
That is awesome.
They had Cat Williams on it. You want to give it a shot?
I didn't come here thinking it was. I thought it was going to be a seat with the, like you said in the beginning, you get a.
That's how you way. There you go.
In the beginning, you get a. Oh, bro, this is going to be so off, bro.
Okay, you can reach the pedals and everything, right? I can scoot you up if you want.
Yeah, scoot me up a little bit. I can't press in yet. Okay, there. Yeah, she got fucking water on my knee.
Oh, here, I'll take that. That's just like a story.
I mean, the funny part here is I haven't driven stick in a while, but
Well, so look, no clutch needed. So just brake and gas, and you shift with the paddles. So
Okay.
up and down there, but no clutch at all.
These paddles are the same, even though
This is upshift.
Okay.
That one's downshift. These aren't nothing
Okay.
for this. Let's see.
Upshift, downshift. I almost would rather shift with my feet.
With the clutch?
Yeah.
Try it without first.
Okay. I've never done it like this. I grew up.
Well, it's just like
stick shift.
just pretend you hit the clutch. This is how like modern race cars are. So put first. It's like an automatic / neutral. I mean manual. The biggest thing is learning to
Where
brake.
am I shifting at though?
When it starts blinking or when your red lines. Oh,
it's fucking wild! I got a downshift.
the biggest thing is not crashing.
Oh, I know. It looked like
so hard.
that mean?
Now it's like go. I would start braking right now.
Start what? Oh. Sorry guys. Oh, I didn't realize it was that hard of a turn there.
It's supposed to be like pretty.
I see the lights now.
Oh, you got it. You're doing great.
Oh, that's freaking awesome, dude. Oh shit, I went the wrong way. I went up to like 6.
Yeah, you're doing great. Keep it up. This is where that frames per second thing matters, because now it looks real.
Oh my god, the G-forces are nuts, bro. That is so dope, though. That is so dope.
It's addictive. And there's so much to it. It's like jiu-jitsu. The technique is like so high.
Yeah. Oh, my left arm's already sore.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's all about breaks. It's like
the way it pushes you. Oh, shit. All right, I'm good. We're going today. Head to the gym. That was fucking... I'm sold. I'm sold, bro. Oh, yeah.
My normal simulators are working, or I was going to set up Bristol for you.
That's dope, yeah.
Now, that's fucking intense.
Oh, man,
I can barely last 20 minutes.
That was so cool. If I do this ever, it's all in the chair. It's all in the chair.